And I am going to go over tonight's quote-unquote main MLB DFS slate. I guess we have more games in the early stuff than we do in the late stuff, but we'll get through it. We'll go through DK. We'll go through what we can do on FanDuel. We'll use sheets, or what do we have right now? We got Goldie's projections right now. So we use Goldie's projections, sheets for the main slate when we get them. And we'll compare them to SaberSim and see how things go. Before I get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Check out TrueDFS.com because everything we do here, you could get at TrueDFS.com. The packages are a great price. It's like $25 more than you'd pay for all of the stuff you get a la carte, which is like the projections from Sheets and Goldie. You get SaberSim, the Pater analytics model for DFS and betting. It's like really a robust package, and there's nothing like it in the industry. So definitely check that out. But let's get going. Let's build. I'm going to build actually for this like 2:10 Central Time slate on DK. I mean, we might as well see what we get to on it. So let's just switch to Goldie's projections and see what kind of lineups we get. I'm not going to demand too much of it. I'm going to just, yeah, okay, cool. So we've got all this. We don't have, yeah, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. We got everyone's projected. Now with stacks, we kind of have to decide what kind of stacks we want to build. I'm going to build 5 3s, 5 2s, and 5s with the one-offs. I'm going to allow 4 4s, 4 3s. And since it's such a small slate, I'll take the 4 2 2s, but I'm not going to go much lower than that. I think you can. I think there are plus EV lineups that do that. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying that I probably can't do that. And, you know, I'm only building 5,000 lineups. So I want to grade the lineups that I think are most likely to grade as positive ROI. I don't want to waste a lot of, you know, spots that I can have graded on 2-2-2 lineups or totally unstacked lineups that are going to grade terribly. Give me as many candidate lineups as I can get. And with SaberSim in the package on TrueDFS, you get 5,000, which isn't that many. So let's go ahead and build. And let's see. Can check the weather while we're at it. It doesn't look like there's any weather issues on this slate. There'll be a little bit for the night slate, but Colorado, I mean, okay, so Colorado has like a little bit of weather, but nothing that looks too foreboding, so we shouldn't have to worry about it too much. What's up, Andy? Good afternoon to you as well and to everyone. So let's see what we got going here. We got 5,000 built. We're going to run contest simulations. Let's call this Goldie's. Okay, it doesn't matter if the O is capitalized. We got Sims running. And let's see on uniques, on just the regular settings, what our 150 using Goldie looks like. Look at all that Minnesota. All the leverage in the world, right? Minnesota, low total going against the Dodgers, going against Glass now. Those are going to be the highest ROI lineups if you're only playing a few. Now, we want to build a portfolio. The interesting thing is if we're using Goldie's stuff, we still get a healthy dose of Glass now. So it's either Minnesota or Glass now. But a lot of Brendan Pfaadt. Luis Castillo makes sense. But looking for that leverage play for the highest ROI. Then you get a little bit of Houston, St. Louis, Colorado. Can't be bad with those teams. But let's have it diversify our portfolio and just get into the sort of game theory optimal. What are the top stacks look like and in what rate? And then you get the 27% St. Louis. And then you only get the 5%, 7 out of 150 on Minnesota. And you get a little bit of Milwaukee in there, who has a slightly higher total against Castillo. You get some Dodgers with the high total. Who's pitching for Minnesota? Paddock doesn't strike a lot of guys out. Throwing those non-strikeout pitches to the Dodgers. Scary stuff. So that's what we'd get to in a sort of portfolio method. And in this case, it's a lot of glass now, right? He's projected at 58% ownership, but he's in the pool way more at 50%, but he's optimal probably much more. So we're getting a whole host of glass now. And then we're kind of spread out. We do have a few shares of Paddock, but using Goldie's projections, that's where we get. Let's see if we use SaberSim's projections, changing the inputs, how much will this change what we do? We don't really have to change ownership. It's not using it here to build. Let's see if anyone's done anything in the first minutes of the slate. I am going to have to late swap at some point. I think this game is at like 11:35 Central. It's Detroit-Pittsburgh. I want to late swap for that. And then you got a couple later games. Mets have a high total. Royals and Cubs, it's hot. Wind is blowing out. Lugo, Rhea, both can get hit. They're going to have a high total. We'll see what happens. But that's where you want to swap off or swap onto if you can. I mean, KC and Chicago are both going to be owned, so you can't really swap off chalk. All right. Whoop, that's my SaberSim. And the native, I want to go and run these sims using SaberSim's projections. I predict we're not going to get as much Minnesota just using uniques. Let's see what these exposures look like. Let's go to uniques 1. Almost 100% glass now using SaberSim. SaberSim loving glass now today. And then all the St. Louis. Giving you more chalk than we'd expect. Some Houston, Colorado. But yeah, I was right. You only get 2 shares of Minnesota, which makes sense. You get all the glass now. No Minnesota. Forget the leverage. You get a little bit more leverage with Milwaukee against Castillo. Let's see if we kind of diversify this portfolio, what it's going to look like. We should have seen, okay, so we have 54% St. Louis stacks, 30% as 5-mans. Then you get the Colorado, the Houston, the Dodgers. So way less Dodgers using SaberSim. Let's see, we had 70% glass now. We are just the same using SaberSim stuff. You have Fa, Castillo, a little bit. So just about the same using Goldie's, at least for the pitching. Little bit different in SaberSim stacks, but not much. But it's more in the secondaries of where we're getting and the less Dodgers to pair with the glass now. So, okay, there's a look at the afternoon, what I'd be doing. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the main slate, the only 5 games, but we'll build and see what happens. Let's start with Goldie's stuff. And, I think 5 games, same thing applies. We want to get the 5-mans. We'll allow some of the 4-mans. Let's go. Now, there's one weather spot, which is like the daily thing you got to do and look for Tampa. Now that they're playing outside, the weather affects things quite a bit. All right, we got almost 5K built. I'm happy with that. Let's see where we're getting on tonight's slate. Who we got pitching? Who's going to be the chalk? Lizardo? Yeah, he's going to be pretty chalky. Fried's good. Bradley's all, who knows? Then it's just guys. Ciccone, Bassett's okay. Giolito, okay. He can get blown up. Sears in Texas, that's the quote-unquote late game. Patrick Corbin, what is he going to be owned? 20%. I don't know. You're supposed to play Patrick Corbin when he's low owned and not play him when he's high owned. But that's the old Patrick Corbin. I mean, he ain't what he used to be. So let's see. Just using uniques, you get a ton of Luzardo and then spread out. Yeah, not much Corbin. Okay with that. It's a Luzardo kind of slate. If we're just using uniques, and then with the stacks, all the Baltimore against Ciccone. Tons of Baltimore. We got Yankees. They can hit home runs. It's a little bit of a downgrade for homers in Toronto, but not much. Still a decent hitter's park. So yeah, Yankees. The White Sox finally lost. There you go. You get some White Sox. Let's see them 5-mans and 4-mans. It's all that Baltimore. Then you get the White Sox with some Yankees. Yankees on the 4-mans. They're probably expensive. Harder to fit in. Makes sense. Okay. So let's now diversify using Goldie's stuff. And see how, if we have a more diverse portfolio, then you come down to being just slightly above the field on Luzardo and just slightly under on Bradley. And really the not much of a stand, but a little bit of a stand on Ciccone. So I imagine we're not going to get nearly as much Baltimore. Let's see here. Tampa's standing out. Yeah, it makes sense. White Sox, they've won some games, but they're not good. The bullpen's terrible. Starters aren't great. Get a lot of Tampa. A lot of Tampa. Philly against Giolito makes sense. The total's right. Then much less on the Yankees. Let's see for 5-mans. So with 5-mans, we have the most Philly. Tampa, Baltimore. You still get a healthy dose of Baltimore. Let's see if we change the inputs and use SaberSim stuff. I'm going to change the ownership. It's not necessary. Got to make 2 changes now. Those and rebuild. We'll do this for FanDuel and then get out of here. Nothing early. Strider's the big chalk, so we'll see if he mows down San Fran. So far, okay, Alcantara gets a couple. I mean, we're sweating nothing here, right? I mean, what do we really need to look at the first inning for? But it's fun. Get our money's worth. I didn't play much in the lotto. I just played a little bit. Okay. Sheets is out today. Bobby should be back. People asked about that. I think he's going to be back in a week. Sheets said definitely by August 1st. So I assume he's right. He's going to be headed out to New York. We'll get some simulcasts with Bobby and Sheets out there, I would assume. So, okay, we've got a portfolio of lineups built using SaberSim, way more Luzardo. And over the field on Bradley. Almost exactly the same on Ciccone. But look at all the Luzardo. Let's see in the stacks what it looks like. Same with Tampa and Philly. So it's kind of all the same. It's just that we're playing more Luzardo using SaberSim's projections. So take that for what it's worth. All I wanted to use it to say is that the inputs matter. The inputs really matter. It's going to change your pool of lineups, and it's going to affect your portfolio. So SaberSim a little higher on Luzardo than I think the industry is. So something to think about, something to chew on. Let's build for FanDuel and then get out of here. Switch to Goldie stuff. I think we'll have Sheets doing live today. So check that out. And yeah, like and subscribe. It helps us out. Let's build. Cincinnati isn't nothing. Yeah. I mean, you know, on one hand, you could say, why are you sweating the first inning? You know, it's meaningless. But on the other hand, you know, you're trying to beat 7,000 other lineups. It's a ninth of the game done. So it does matter to some extent. I wouldn't totally, you know, you need outliers, and it's 3 events down the tubes in an event-based kind of sport like baseball. So, and of course, get our damn money's worth. So, okay, using uniques and Goldie stuff, we're gonna be pretty spread out at pitcher here. We got 40% Luzardo compared to the field at 33, a little less than 40, 39%. Pretty spread out at pitcher using Goldie stuff. Then we'll see if it holds that. Let's see what 4-man stacks we get. And then you get the Baltimore. So it's about the same using Goldie stuff if we're not putting it on portfolio diversifier. But we do want a diverse portfolio. We want to stay in the game. So then you get to the high amount of Tampa, but not like we got on DraftKings, and you still get a lot of Baltimore. Let's see what the pitching looks like. Just a little, cut down a little on Luzardo, right, with the ownership. Under the field on Bradley and Ciccone, just spread out. So our one pitcher is going to be pretty spread out on FanDuel using Goldie stuff. Let's use SaberSim stuff. See what happens. Now, if it holds true that they're higher on Luzardo, we should have more in our portfolio, whether we're using just the old way of doing it or the new way. Let's find out. I built in the native SaberSim for the early slate for my for the lotto. I think I was higher in the later games. I mean, again, it's so early, but I know I had some. San Diego looked good today. Cincinnati looked good. There were a lot of high totals. There's nothing compared to the Cubs and the Royals. Now, there is a swap question in that 11:35 game. I'm not going to probably do it. All right. So, using the portfolio manager on FanDuel, yep, a little bit more of the Luzardo. And under on those other guys. Now, let's see if it holds for the 4-man stacks. Yeah, all the Tampa, the Baltimore. So, there you have it. There's not much question on the slate that SaberSim likes Luzardo a little bit more than the rest of the industry. So if you could take one thing away, it's maybe that. We'll see if Luzardo's ownership gets steamed. But yeah, that's what I'm doing, and that's the process I do. You say you could kind of tune in every day and take a look and see where I'm getting, but really what you should see is the process and the simplicity of it. And part of the reason it's simple is because I do it every day, getting reps. Right, that's what me and Sheets were talking about the other day. Like, just one of the reasons to do it early is it's one more rep of doing it, so that when it's before lock, you're tuned in, you're ready to go, and you could run your process in 5, 10, 15 minutes, tops. So yeah, like and subscribe, check that out, and check us out live before lock. Sheets will be here at 4:30 Eastern time, 5:30 Central, and good luck. Let's go.